What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing another video. Today I'm bringing a video on Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode 19. This is for the preview for the episode, and the episode is called Helping Hand. Now, as far as things go with this preview, it actually is pretty decent. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it's cool. It shows off a monster called Force Sphere, who the Rangers end up fighting. We actually see at first Levi and Preston fighting him, doing different attacks, and then at one point we actually see Brody using the Lion Fire mode, which we haven't seen since episode 15. So it's really cool to finally see that return again. And he ends up using the rapid fire like a shuriken attack that he did in that episode. But when he uses it, it basically gets deflected off of the monster, not really doing anything to it. So then at that point they think, what are they going to do? How are they going to attack this monster? So then they decide, Brody is then told by Preston, I believe, to throw both himself and Levi at Force Sphere. So he ends up grabbing them and spinning them like shurikens and then tosses them at Force Sphere. When that happens, suddenly Force Sphere summons a force field around him to block the attack and bounce it back at them. And then we suddenly see Calvin and Haley appear, and apparently they had been fighting some Basher bots, so they hadn't been able to help out. But then the question that's brought up is, how are they going to attack Force Sphere? And he says, you can't attack me, but I can attack you. Now the question is, I wonder, maybe you think maybe they would use an attack that would let him attack himself. And we'll see what happens, of course. This episode is story-based. I also don't really remember the exact details of this episode in the Japanese show, so that's the other reason why I don't remember what happens for a fact there. And I know some information about this episode, but I'll tell you this much right now. It's going to lead into like the big finale, so keep that in mind, that this is supposed to be a pretty major episode overall, but more so the next episode, because the finale is going to be a huge deal just because of some of the things that actually happen in it. And then it's going to lead into Super Ninja Steel, which we won't see till next year, but I can't wait to see that as well. So I'd love to know your guys' opinions. Are you guys looking forward to seeing this episode? Personally, I think that this could be really cool. It's supposed to also feature Victor and Monty at some point, where they're actually going to contribute a bunch to the episode for once, which, I mean, the last episode they did too, but this one will actually have them interacting with the Rangers a little bit, or at least the villains. We'll get into that in the actual episode review, but I wanted to bring that up now just so that you were aware that there is some stuff that will happen where Victor and Monty will actually have some purpose rather than just being, silly background characters like they have been for the majority of the season. So that's good. And that also makes me more hopeful that they'll actually gain more significance in Super Ninja Steel, which is something that I'm hoping will happen if they're going to continue to use these characters, because people give them a lot of flack a lot of times, and to me, I wouldn't say that I hate them, but they're definitely not the most meaningful characters to the overall show. So knowing that they're going to have some significance to the core plot, even more so now, is a big positive for me, and makes me a little bit more hopeful that they'll be turned around into more interesting characters, hopefully. I mean, I'm not expecting like perfection, but I'm hoping for some improvement, of course. So I'd love to know your opinions. Are you guys looking forward to seeing this episode? Again, I don't think there is an episode next week. So after this episode airs this weekend, I don't think there's an episode November 11th. I think that the next episode doesn't start till November 18th. So expect that to happen probably. And then after that, we won't see an episode till earliest, I would imagine, the first weekend of December, latest probably the second weekend. So I'd love to know your guys' opinions. Are you guys looking forward to seeing this episode, and what are your thoughts on the preview? Leave your comments below, and check out the link in the description. So until then, guys, I'm Crazy Sarah 71, and goodbye, guys.